What grows faster in your life, laziness or ambition? And more importantly, which one are you feeding every single day? In a quiet village surrounded by golden fields and endless skis, there lived an old farmer with his two sons. The older son, Daniel, was known throughout the village for his hard work. Before the sun rose, he was already in the fields beside his father, planting seeds, watering crops, and pulling weeds beneath the burning sun. His hands were rough. His back often ached. His clothes were covered in dirt. But every season, his land grew greener. The younger son, Leo, was the complete opposite. While Daniel worked, Leo lay beneath a wide, shady tree with his hands behind his head, staring at the clouds. He loved to boast. One day, he would say to the villagers passing by, "I'll be the greatest farmer this village has ever seen." The villagers laughed. Some shook their heads, and Daniel simply kept working. Leo talked about success, but he never lifted a finger to earn it. Day after day, the father watched. At first, he warned Leo, "Dreams without work are like seeds without soil." But Leo only smiled lazily and replied, "There's plenty of time." The father's patience began to fade. One evening, as the sky turned orange and the birds flew home, the father called Leo to him. In his hands were two small leather pockets filled with seeds. He placed them into Leo's palms. "In one pocket," the father said, "are seeds that grow quickly. They need almost no effort." Leo's eyes lit up. "And in the other pocket," the father continued, "are seeds that grow slowly. They require patience, discipline, and daily care, but one day they will reward you greatly." Leo grinned. The choice was obvious. The next morning, he planted the easy seeds. He barely covered them with dirt. He poured a little water. Then he stretched, yawned, and walked away. "Done," he said proudly. For a few days, he looked at them. Small green shoots began to rise quickly. Leo laughed. "See, I knew I was born for this." But soon he stopped visiting. He returned to his shady tree. He talked. He slept. He wasted his time. Days turned into weeks. One afternoon, Leo suddenly remembered his field. He ran toward it with a smile, imagining strong plants and easy riches. But the moment he arrived, his smile vanished. His field was a disaster. Tall, thick weeds had swallowed everything. Wild vines twisted around the tiny crops. Thorns covered the ground. The small plants were gone, choked to death. Leo stood frozen. His heart pounded. No, no, no. He dropped to his knees in shock. At that moment, his father walked slowly toward him. He looked over the ruined field and said calmly, "Laziness grows on its own." Leo turned, tears in his eyes. The father continued, "You don't need to water laziness. You don't need to feed it. You don't need to care for it. It grows in silence. And if you ignore it long enough, it destroys everything." Leo lowered his head. Then his father pointed toward the horizon. "Come." They walked to Daniel's field. Leo's eyes widened. Rows of golden wheat danced in the wind. Fruit trees stood tall and heavy with apples, pears, and peaches. Green vines wrapped around strong wooden posts. The land looked alive. Beautiful, rich, successful. Daniel was there, sweating as he worked. His hands were blistered. His face was tired, but his eyes were proud. The father spoke again. "Ambition is different. It grows slowly. It demands effort. It steals your comfort. It asks for discipline when you feel lazy. It asks for work when you feel tired. It asks for sacrifice when you want pleasure." He looked directly into Leo's eyes. But in the end, it rewards you with success. Leo stared at his brother's field. For the first time in his life, he felt ashamed. That night, Leo couldn't sleep. He kept hearing his father's words. And before sunrise the next morning, for the first time ever, Leo was in his own field. He grabbed the weeds with both hands and pulled. Again, and again, and again. The thorns cut his skin. The sun burned his face. His back screamed in pain. His hands bled. More than once he wanted to quit. But he remembered Daniel. He remembered the ruined field. He remembered the words, "Laziness grows on its own." So he kept going, hour after hour, day after day, until the field was clean. Then he opened the second pocket, the pocket of slow-growing seeds, the seeds of ambition. He planted them carefully. He watered them daily. He protected them from storms. He removed weeds before they spread. He worked when he was tired. He worked when he was bored. He worked when no one was watching. Weeks passed. Then one morning, a tiny green sprout broke through the soil. Leo smiled. Months passed. The sprout became a tree. Then it grew taller, stronger. Its branches spread wide. Soon it bore large, shining fruit, sweet and beautiful. People came from nearby villages to buy them. Leo sold baskets and baskets of fruit. Then he planted more trees. And more. His land flourished. His business grew. He became one of the wealthiest farmers in the region. But more importantly, he became disciplined, wise, and grateful. One evening, as the sun set over his orchard, Leo stood beside his father and said, "Thank you for teaching me the lesson that changed my life." The old farmer smiled, and in the golden light of the setting sun, 2 generations stood together, looking at the harvest born from ambition. Moral of the story: laziness asks for nothing, but takes everything. Ambition asks for everything, but gives back more than you can imagine. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Tell us, are you feeding laziness or ambition today? Your support helps YouTube show this video to more people, so more lives can be inspired.